Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Peshkov and today I'm going to present you our new game Lotta Rome. The game is almost finished, but we have some components under development, so that's why we'll see some white screens and the elements, not final artwork, but the box is finalized and the game is finalized. So this is the 2 to 5 players game with age 8 and up, and this is a light strategy game, well, even more tactical game I would say. The theme is taking place in the last days of Roman Empire, and the barbarians are taking back all the lands, so it's to get a share of the nice lands that was yours before maybe. And there are plenty of barbarian kings or leaders who are trying to get some of the richness of the Roman Empire, and we're going to play for them. So your goal is to get some of the lands and buildings and build your domain, and of course you want to be as rich as possible, but everyone is competing and you have to cooperate in some way with other players. But this is not a cooperative game at all, and there's a lot of interaction between players. So in the end, everyone is going to build something like this. So this is the kind of domain you're going to have at the end of the game. Each player will have something like this, and then you will score points for every kind of building and terrain. So basically, the rules for scoring are quite straightforward. So you will have to count the number of tiles in every kind of terrain and multiply by number of buildings of the matching kind which are on it or next to it. So for example, here it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1. And here, for example, will be 1, 2 by 2 because there are 2 gray buildings inside or adjacent to it. So basically, there are 5 kinds of terrains, and it's very straightforward. And the second source of the points is these gems that you will get during the game, and the more you get, the more they score. So this is the core scoring, which is quite straightforward, but the most original part of the game and which makes the whole attractiveness of the game is the way you play. So you play 4 rounds, so the game is quite short. Actually, you can play it in 20 minutes. Every player will have a card like this, it's random. So they have a set of buildings, and each row is 1 round. Every round, we're going to take 5 tiles from our stack and put them in front of us. And the 2 first buildings go to the leftmost tiles, and you cannot move them anymore. So everyone does the stuff like this. And every have the kind of reminder card in front of them. This is the initial position. Also, every player have 2 cards that will let him select the share of the territory of his neighbor. Why would you take something from your neighbor? Because that's the whole idea of the game. You can call this mechanics cut and choose, because once you made this preparation, you're going to split this set of territories in 2 groups, and you're going to do it every time, every round, in any fashion you like. So you can split it like 3 to 2 and 4 to 1 or even 5 to 0. You will also add 1 precious crystal to the smallest group. But you do it behind the screen. That's why we're going to have a screen. So of course they will not be white and bigger a bit. So you think and you decide somehow how you split this loot, let's say, behind the screen. So let me show you something, for example. So, for example, I did make a distribution like this. So this is the smallest group, so I must add the gem here, and this is the biggest group. Every player do it the same time, and there's a lot of actions which are made at the same time. That's why the game is quite fluent and fast. So once everyone done it, and we remove the screens, we can see that what's on offering on every player's display. And this card tells us that we're going to choose half of the kingdom offering, let's say, from our left neighbor, and the right neighbor going to grab some stuff from our display. So every turn basically we'll get 2 sets of tiles. 1 set is remaining from our own display of this turn that the neighbor decided not to take, and the second part is something we take from our neighbor. So for example, and we do this voting at the same time, so we don't know yet what the other players will choose. So okay, let's say the other player has something like this on his display. Let me show it. And he divided it, for example, like this. just for sake of demonstration. So actually you have to think first, then you divide the stuff, and then you have to think hard, then you make a selection. Because at the beginning, probably the first round, it will be less information, but once the people start building their own domain, then you have to base your assumption on it. So like, okay, the guy seems to have a lot of fields, so maybe he will need some yellow buildings. So maybe I can put it in a smaller group and he will still take it, and I can have the rest of the tiles which are bigger domain. And the same, okay, if I get this part, so we will combine better this and this. This kind of reasoning going on through all the game. So for example, here I will vote, oh, this one. And when we reveal, I will get the bigger share. So this card means, okay, it's not a final artwork. So this one with a crystal means the small one, and this is the bigger one. So I get this part. If my colleague to the right decided to take, for example, smaller part, then it goes here. And this is what remains. And now I have to put it together. So I'm doing something like this, I guess. You can use any geometry, but once you put the tiles in your kingdom, you cannot change them anymore. So next turn, you're going to add the stuff to this domain. And you flip this card over, and everyone does the same. And now, next time, we're going to take part from your right neighbor. So this flips back and forth every round. Well, actually, there are only 4 of them. And it means that you're going to interact with both of your neighbors and have to take into account what they are building on their side. Basically, that's the whole core mechanic of the game. So there are 4 rounds. Every round you take 5 tiles, take buildings, share the stuff behind your screen. So before that, everyone see what is going to be shared, but you share it behind the screen. And then you open what and get the stuff and put it in your kingdom wisely. So there's several, these rules are quite short and straightforward, but there are several levels of thinking. As I said, there are a lot of interaction between players. As I said, by the way, the crystals are tricky, so the scoring is not flat. So you have to also balance if you want to get more of them, or that's enough and you more focus on getting the right tiles for your kingdom. That's it. The game is ready. It's well, almost ready. Okay, the white part is going to be much more colorful. We fix some artwork on the cards. The cover you can see already, and the game going to be available in 2 variants. So we have a bigger box and bigger tiles version with €27 on the shelf, and a smaller box and a slightly smaller tiles for €22. That's it. I hope you will like the game. Thank you very much.